It's been 6 days of hearing how they keep running over. 6 days of hearing how they couldn't toss the ball. 6 days of thinking about how their hostile line would skip again from shame. 7 days in the wake of anguish, their first loss of the season in mortifying design. However, number 7 Georgia ricocheted back by running directly finished SEC East adversary Kentucky in a 42-13 defeat that had the group looking significantly more like the person who was the number 1 seed in the college football playoff only 2 weeks ago. The Bulldogs' triumph was normally energized by their ground diversion, which was restrained a week ago at Auburn. However, came back with the retaliation behind the 2 senior running backs who said their goodbyes to the fences at Sanford Stadium with much more eye-popping numbers for the red and dark. Scratch Chubb drove the path on a day where he likewise beat the 1,000-yard stamp for the season, completing with 151 yards and 2 scores, the remainder of which was a 55-yarder down the sidelines that charmed the group and will most likely be replayed a couple of times at next spring's NFL draft. His partner in the backfield, Sony Michel, wasn't excessively pitiful either, with 87 yards and a trio of excursions to the end zone as well. Quarterback Jake Fromm figured out how to have a proficient trip in the passing diversion in the wake of shaking off an interference on the opening drive of the amusement. The green bean ended up with 123 yards noticeable all around and tossed a lovely touchdown directly into the holding up arms of Javon Wims in the primary half. With the 2 stages terminating on all barrels, particularly from the second quarter on, Georgia moved up more than 500 yards of offense as evening transformed into night, and Athens.The Wildcats looked debilitating right on time subsequent to getting that underlying turnover and were for the most part staying nearby until just before halftime. QB Steven Johnson likely will spend the vast majority of the post-amusement in the ice tub after various hits from that savage front 7 of the home group, fortunately overseeing just to get sacked 3 times and tossing for 138 yards. Things were similarly troublesome for halfback Benny Snell, who was great in mauling his approach to 94 yards, and Kentucky's just touchdown.It was insufficient at last. Be that as it may, as Georgia went an impeccable 6-0 against the East Division and wrapped up normal season play in the SEC with the triumph. They'll make a beeline for Atlanta the following a long time, as they'll go up against in-state match Georgia Tech next Saturday before making a beeline for Mercedes-Benz Stadium to meet the champ of the Iron Bowl with the gathering title and college football playoff spot on the line. Coaches speak bounty about placing last week behind them and pushing ahead, and it's sheltered to state that is the situation for Kirby Smart's group after another simple cavort and meeting play.